Hey everybody, what's up? It's Jason and Eric from Mavidia Technology Group, and we're coming to you live once again. If you haven't been paying attention to our Facebook page, we've launched a weekly Q&A live session that we take as an opportunity to pull the smart people in Mavidia Technology Group and put them in on the front of the camera, on camera.
Close enough.
Whatever. We do stuff like this, and then we ask them a bunch of questions because they're smart and they can help your small business, your small business. So they can make your small business smarter. We can help. Whatever. This is not going really well to start. What day is it? Is it Friday? Anyway. All right. So I'm Eric, CEO of Mavidia Technology Group, and this is Jason Lerblance, one of our SEO gurus. And I'll tell you what. One of the smartest guys I've ever met in regards to SEO. I'll tell a little quick story about how Jason and Mavidia got together. So we met Jason. He was running his own small SEO firm, and SEO was my background in internet marketing and design, and did a lot of that for other small businesses. But I never trusted anybody else to do it the way I did it until I met Jason and went, wow, this guy knows way more than I do. We need to get him on our team. And so Mavidia acquired Jason's company, and he came and he started leading some of the SEO services and packages that we offer our clients. So how long have you been doing search engine optimization?
Oh gosh. Well, long before I came to Mavidia, but I can remember back 15 years ago, at least. So I was testing the waters on stuff well before we were doing it.
Yeah. So you got a couple dinosaurs in the room right now, because I started my internet career in 1996, and that was 20 years ago, and yours 15. I mean, in internet years, we're like ancient. So we've been around the block. We know a lot about internet marketing, and today we wanted to answer questions. We already have a few questions that came in since last week. Answer some questions and focus primarily on local SEO, right?
Yep.
And I think what people don't realize is that there are ways to market yourself nationally, on the search engines or in internet marketing, and then there's ways to market your business locally. And your clients may be one or the other or both, and so you got to take them into consideration, right, as you're thinking about marketing online. So today we're not going to talk about national SEO, although some things spill over. We're going to talk about local SEO.
Meaning a local brick and mortar type business.
Local,
serves customers either walking through their door, or you service them in an area local to you. You go to them.
Okay,
so that's the definition.
So maybe let's start with some examples of that.
Okay, so an example would be like a plumber, a dentist, a florist, any of those type services or businesses.
Okay, so local brick and mortar. Something you're going to run across town and get.
Yep.
Maybe something you don't necessarily buy or prefer to buy online.
Right. If you're going to buy it in person and you have a business, a brick and mortar business that people come to, or that you service people, then you can benefit from this.
Got it.
Even if you sell nationally, there are things that you need to pay attention to on a local level that could influence you selling things nationally. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so important because you can spend a lot of wasted time focusing on internet marketing efforts that help you nationally, but might not help you locally and your clients in your backyard. Right. So let's talk about that a little bit. We got a question already that came in. That I'll read to you, and it says, for a local company that provides services both locally and across the country, how would you recommend splitting focus and efforts when it comes to SEO to get benefits both locally and nationally? Okay, so we're talking about more on the local front today, so we'll kind of jump on the national side for a second, but does that question make sense?
Well, so I would first probably want to know what type of business this is, because I would need to know more information probably. So a local company that provides local services as well as selling nationally. If you have a brick and mortar store, and you say, like, for example, an e-commerce type business, yes, people can come in your door and buy stuff, but you also ship to anywhere in the US. Well, you need to do both, obviously. I would probably, kind of do them equally. There's a lot that would go into, something like that, where your focus is local and national. I would probably want to strengthen first your local presence online, so that if you are selling nationally, for example, you have an e-commerce company, they see an ad or hear about you, the first thing you're going to do is probably search for you and look for information about you, whether it be reviews, other mentions of you across the web. That's one thing we're going to talk about is Google My Business listing. That's, even if you sell things nationally or over the world, you still have a physical presence somewhere, even if it's at your house. But a Google My Business listing is a great opportunity for you to, get reviews for, past customers, current customers. People search for our services. We're local, but we also are national. We can, serve people anywhere. And if somebody in California searches for Mavidia, we want them to see our Google My Business listing and see all of the great reviews from our happy clients, happy customers, see our Facebook reviews, Yelp reviews, whatever. So I would definitely work on the local level to, make yourself look good. So that'll strengthen your national focus too.
Yeah, one of the key things Jason just said is it's important to look good.
Yep.
And, and Mavidia's, rule number one is always look good. And I just wanted to point out today that my hair's kind of on point today. Wouldn't you say?
It's very pointy. Definitely.
Yeah, I guess
it's sharp.
That's what I kind of meant. It's getting a little long. I need to probably cut out of here this afternoon and get a haircut, but it's looking pretty good. Anyway, back to local listings on, for SEO and whatnot. And, when I think what I kind of heard in that is the cornerstone is your local listing, your local opportunity, right? Because you're a brick and mortar, and there's so many things you can do locally to cement yourself and then build from.
Yep.
That it's really important to get that foundation.
Because if you have a local address somewhere in that Google My Business listing claimed and completed, you're going to come up and the whole right side of the screen on a desktop or even on a mobile. You type in Mavidia right now in Google and see what happens. Type the name of your business in and see what happens. And that's the first thing that people are going to see. And if that doesn't look good, or it's kind of bare, it doesn't have pictures of the place or pictures of your staff or any reviews or any positive reviews, work on that like yesterday. And definitely continue to work on that.
Yeah. So let's talk about Google My Business a little bit, because one of the things that it seems like every time I turn around, I jump online and I do a search and something's changed.
Yep.
And so Google My Business used to be Google Places, right? And Google Maps, right? And so it's kind of evolved over time and changed. Recently, Jason walked me through the various steps that you could take in your Google My Business listing, and I was really floored with some of the functionality that was in there, and some of the tools that it provided.
Yep.
And so, Jason, can you talk a little bit about that in terms of the Google My Business listing and what what's in there that people can change or modify or add to as they begin to lay the foundation?
So once you claim your listing, it takes you to a dashboard where you can manage your listing. And obviously your business name, address, phone number, an alternate phone number, fax number, email address, website URL, business hours, which is important. Make sure you get those correct, because Google, if you do a search, you've probably seen whether something's closed or if they're open and until what time. So those extra features are always good.
So wait a minute, are you saying that if you don't, it's possible that you can actually have the wrong hours?
You can have the wrong hours
in there, and people log on and they do a search and they find you and
they
the wrong
get
hours.
closed. Yep, that's happened before. So if you've got, so Google creates,
No bueno.
Google creates Google My Business listings with or without you. You know, they'll scrape the data all day, every day on other websites. So if they come across your business information on super pages or yellow pages or decks or whatever, you know, and that information is on that, it carries over. And if those hours were wrong, a super pages rep or whatever that sold you something put those hours in wrong, or maybe they used to be different and they've changed. Well, Google now has that, and if you don't claim and complete that and correct it, you know, that's obviously not good.
Yikes.
So those are things, you know, those are the basics. Images, you know, by default, Google will put up like a street view picture, or people can.
What is that? A street view
So
picture?
a street view picture is, you know, a Google car actually drove by at one point and took a picture of what it looks like from the street.
That's how they do that.
Yep.
It's not a drone?
And no.
Oh,
No.
I've been telling everybody it's a drone.
You're just
'cause
paranoid.
that sounds cooler.
And anyway, so
Doing that.
you have the opportunity to add more pictures. And once you, and not just a bunch of pictures, but in the back end of the dashboard, you can add, you know, like your logo. You can add, you know, interior pictures, exterior pictures, staff pictures, at work pictures. So, you know, you're doing something. Maybe you're working with a patient. Maybe you're installing a gutter or repairing a roof. Or so it's basically people get to see your company. And the more you can relate to people, the better. You know, that's going to look a whole lot better if somebody clicks on your listing and checks those things out and sees faces and people, well, some of them, and people, you know, interacting. You know, it could be you with a client or a patient or whatever. And doing all of this stuff helps strengthen that listing, and Google will reward you by, you know, increasing the rank a little bit. Now, this magically isn't going to get you ranked at the top. Trust me, there's a lot of other things that go into it. But,
It's the cornerstone.
it's definitely important. So, like I said, when people check you out online, they're going to type your name in and click on your listing, and they'll check the photos out, they'll look for the reviews, and if you don't have them, it only takes a few minutes. So definitely important. I could go into a lot more detail there, but and also on the back end of the listing, it will show you, so there's not a lot of reporting, but there's a dashboard there called Insights, and it will show you how many times your website URL has been clicked on, how many times your photos have been viewed, how many phone calls you've received.
Really?
From a mobile device. So obviously you can't track from a desktop, but if you know, search for somebody, and say you search for a dentist and they click on you and click to call, it will track that phone call. And it will show how many phone calls you got, and it'll show you which day, so you can actually see a week at a time and see 4 calls Monday, 7 calls Tuesday. Pretty cool. And also click for directions. So it'll show you all that data. Kind of cool.
That's amazing. You know, so one of the things I want to go back to saying and to make sure everybody heard this is sometimes Google's doing this for you and they're doing it inaccurately. So if you haven't spent any time with your Google My Business listing, do it, because it could be out there already and be wrong. It could be steering customers away from you and to some other small business because they find their information right next to you, right? And so check it out. Make sure Google hasn't imported inaccurate data.
Yep.
Well, that would really stink.
And real quick, we touched on this a little bit last video, but if you guys didn't watch it, go back and watch it, because I'm not going to tell you. Now, just look for your listing. You know, search for yourself online. You know, Movidia or your business, Wilmington, Illinois, or wherever you are, and you'll see your Google My Business listing on the right. And if it hasn't been claimed, it'll say claim this business. Click that. With a Google account, sign in, claim the business. There's a verification procedure. You've got 2 choices. A lot of times you can do a phone verification where they will call, an automated bot will call the number, give you a PIN number, and you put that PIN number in the field, click submit, and you just claimed it. Sometimes they will want to send a mailer to you that will have a PIN number. So it's as easy as that. If you've got a Google account, go do it today and get it claimed, and fill it out.
Yeah. So it reminds me of another question that we got, and it sounds like there's a lot of tools in Google My Business that you can take advantage of. But what do you see as the most common mistake that people make for their business when they're working in their Google My Business listing?
Well, I've seen a few. Excuse me. I've seen a few mistakes. So first of all, you need to make sure that your business name stays congruent across all properties on the web.
What's that mean?
So that means you should establish, I call it a NAP, your name, address, phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So, your name, address, and phone number should be the same, whether it's on your website, Google My Business, Super Pages, Yellow Pages, Insider Pages, Facebook, wherever, Chamber of Commerce. Google likes to see those be the same.
And when you say be the same, give them an example of just a small change that people don't realize make a huge difference.
Okay, Mavidia and Mavidia Technology Group LLC could end up ultimately being two different listings in Google. It's happened to us, and I had to clean it up because Google will see. So, we have recently shortened. We're still Mavidia Technology Group, but for branding, we've gone Mavidia, and we still exist all over the web as Mavidia Technology Group. So Google's bots will crawl a listing and say, "Oh, Mavidia Technology Group," at maybe our old address down, on Monroe Street, downtown Bloomington, and create a new listing. So then you have to claim and suppress that listing and say you've moved and this is us and do a PIN verification. Another thing I've seen is, Mr. Plumber, Bloomington, Illinois. That's kind of spamming the listing, trying to get extra keywords in there by your city, or maybe you're like, I don't know, Mr. Handyman, and you're a roofer. Well, Mr. Handyman, Bloomington roofer. Trying to game the system, get your keywords in there. You could actually get penalized, get your listing removed from Google, and it just messes things up. Some things like that may work short term, but you're going to get hit eventually.
Yeah.
So keep your business name the same, keep your address the same, and your phone number. Online, it can hurt you using tracking numbers and 800 numbers if your focus is local, because those are all different phone numbers to Google. Google likes that local relevancy. So if you've got a local store, you want a local phone number, like for Bloomington, you'd want 309, whatever, and you want that to exist the same on your website and the same on, Super Pages and all those others. If they're different, again, could create a different listing. You got duplicate listings, then Google doesn't know which one to show. It confuses their algorithm, and it can hurt you in the long run. So make sure, standardize your name, address, phone number, get it right on your site, get it right on Google My Business, and anywhere else that you move forward on the web. Make sure the chamber matches that exactly. Make sure Facebook matches it exactly, and make everyone aware in your organization, anytime you use the address, name, address, phone number, that could potentially end up on the web, what that's going to be. If in doubt, once you've claimed and completed your Google My Business listing, always refer to that and match it.
Yeah, makes all the difference. You'll hear us talk a lot about alignment. Alignment when we talk to clients or talk about the idea of doing internet marketing, and that's one of the major areas of alignment that I'm referring to when I say it, is all that stuff has to match up, or Google, you run the risk of Google thinking you're two different businesses. And that's a great point with Mavidia, because we've been Mavidia Technology Group when we started, but people have started to refer to us, as they've gotten to know us, as just Mavidia. And so, it makes a lot of difference. And if we didn't realize that was happening, Jason wouldn't have had the opportunity to go correct it, and we could be penalized in the form of people being led elsewhere than to where we're at now and who we are now. So, so that's a little bit about Google My Business. Obviously, that's just a small segment of all the things that you can do and spend time on when you're thinking about internet marketing for your small business. But when you think about where your clients are at, are they local or are they national? if they're local, and even if they're not, and you're springboarding up to a national campaign, remember the foundational things you could do in Google My Business, and get set up properly. So I'm curious real quick, and then we need to wrap it up, but do the other search engines have a similar function? Is there something similar on MSN or Yahoo?
Bing does, Yahoo does not. Bing does have a local, it's like Bing local. It's not as in-depth as Google, but same format. You do a verification, fill it out, not quite as detailed, still important. I mean, we do the same thing for our clients. We'll claim you in all of the important areas, but definitely important, and make sure it matches the Google listing on your website as well. Mm-hmm. And one thing I forgot to mention was your category. Make sure that you have your main category first, and look at your categories. Put that down first. Like if you're a dentist, a general dentist, you'd want dentist. You wouldn't want your main category to be teeth whitening, your main category to be dental implants. Your main high-level category first, and then you can add secondary categories after that.
And you're talking about the categories inside of Google My Business.
Yep.
There's categories you can select as you're registering and editing your business there. So make sure you take Jason's advice on that. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in and giving us a chance to share some of Jason's wisdom and my haircut. Thanks for letting us share those things with you. Tune in again next week. We're going to have, what are we going to have, Kim?
Web design.
We're having web design. We're going to talk more about web design. And man, it's a topic I get fired up on. My video last time, I was flailing my hands and I was like this in the camera talking. Some of the statistics that we've learned about web design and people's view of their own website absolutely boggle my brain. So I'm going to talk about more of those things, some web design tips, ways that you can make your small business website better so that it actually works for you. How about a website that actually generates new sales or people that engage you or call you, or start to build that virtual relationship that we like to see happen here at Movidia Technology Group. All kinds of tips and tricks. We're going to talk about that more and answer your questions on your website. So bring those in. It'll be next week. When, Kim? Tuesday. So next Tuesday. Come with it, and we'll see you then. Deuces.